First, let me tell you this. This project is a perfect portfolio candidate. Not only is it filled with custom functionality, but also uses the most modern tech these days. We will build this amazing contractor project that has a custom coded carousel with parallax effect using NextJS images. It is fully responsive and uses server-side approach. From business perspective, it uses all the sections to convert visitors to leads. In addition to custom coded carousel, we also gonna use Embla carousel. We will have a contact form that is run and validated on server side using Zod, server actions, and Resend. It is a multi-page web app that will have a custom coded breadcrumbs component. In service page, each service leads to its own page. On the projects page, we will have the most important functionality to learn. It is filtering and pagination. And each project will lead to its own dynamic page. And at the bottom of that page, it will have similar project section where we're gonna filter and display similar projects. Lastly, we're gonna have contacts page that will use contact form component and React-leaflet map. And so again, this is a perfect project for your portfolio, and yet not the one that will break your brain. And if you like this tutorial, please support me by subscribing, liking, and commenting. It helps really a lot. So enough talking, let's get to coding. So let's start with creating our project. I'll open terminal. We'll go to desktop with cd desktop. And now we can write npx create next app. I will call it contractor app. And then with TypeScript, vslint with Tailwind, source directory we don't need, app router yes, and import ls no. So now I want to target not desktop but this folder. So cd contractor app, and by writing code dot, it will open my VS Code. First thing I will do is I'm going to page and removing all the stuff from here. Also, let's remove main. Now go to layout and change metadata. Contractor. Construction company. Font, we will use Inter for this tutorial, so we will not replace it. But if you want to replace font, you can do it also here. Next, I want to go to globals. Also gonna remove all the stuff from here. And now we'll copy some basic stuff. So it's basically just my headings. Now let's just create a few folders. So we'll have modules. So these modules will include sections for our project that are used across many pages, and components folder. So the same as sections, just components. So now we successfully prepared our project, so we can continue working on it. Okay, now we'll start from homepage. So I want to go to app, and here I want to create a folder with parentheses. So call it home, and this lets me move my home page to this folder and have a bit more structure. Inside, I also can create modules. So here will be sections needed for the home page. And actually, we can start by creating our first file here. So hero.tsx, arrayfc to generate a component fast. And here we're gonna create our beautiful hero section. So hero section will have title, description, button, all these nice things. Also a button that shows that there is more content below. And also carousel that is without any libraries. So we're gonna custom code it. And we have this parallax effect, also custom without any libraries. And yeah, we can start doing that. Let's start with creating a wrapper. So class name will be relative, height screen. So this means that it will stretch to the height of the screen, and width full. So it will do the same horizontally, not only vertically. And then padding top I want to be 12. And then on medium screens and up, padding top will be 0. So overflow hidden. Okay, so we have our wrapper. Next I want to have container. So for container we don't have container component, so I want to go and create it. So inside components I want to create a container.tsx, and this will be pretty simple component. So interface container props, let's define some types. Class name I want to pass, it will be optional, and children. So our container will always have children. So container props and class name and children. So now we destructured our values. So let's add some class name. So it will be using a template literal. So let's use brackets for that. And so container from Tailwind, and then on large screens I want it to be max width 6XL, and then padding horizontal will be 4, and then a mix auto which centers our container all the time. And I want to pass our class name from the props if we have any additional classes. And inside I want to pass children. So okay, now we have our container. Let's go here and re-import it. And actually already here I will have a bit of custom classes on container. Usually I don't do it, but in this time I will use it. So relative, and then z index, let's add of 10, flex, and flex will be column. So our content goes vertical, 5 between, and height full. So it will stretch the container height. And then I want all text inside to be white. So in general, what these classes will do is, so we have the 0 section with its full height, and I added justify between. So our first div will be in the top, another in the center, and another in the bottom. And this makes our content beautifully aligned without any absolute classes and so on. So first div will be just a simple div, nothing inside. So another div will include our title and description. So first each one, and on each one we want to add vertical margin. So title is we build with, and then I want to add line break. And below I want to have a span which will have class name of text secondary. Actually, let's name it primary, and precision inside. So to have this color now, we need to go to Tailwind config. So I will remove this background image. We'll add colors, and here we'll call it primary, and copy my color. And now we can see that VS Code understands it, and this beautiful yellow color. So below our heading I want to have a description, so it will be p element, and on that I want to add margin bottom of 8. And here I just want to generate some random text. Yeah, some lorem ipsum. So, okay, and at the bottom I want to have our button. And button we don't have, so we need to again go to components and create it. Button.tsx, refc creates our button. So first I want to create interface with button props. So this will extend React button HTML attributes and HTML button element. So in this case, we get all our default HTML button attributes. So here inside, I will have children, but it will be optional. Good. So now I can destructure it. Also, I will use rest, so it will pass all the rest of props. So button props. Inside, I want to create button. And here I want to have a check if children is true. So then children. Else I want it to be a link from NextJS. For now, let's add it simply to home. But it will be contact us. So later we'll come and change it. Now I want to create a class name for button. So horizontal padding will be 16, vertical padding 4. Then background will be primary, so our primary color that we define in config. And text will be XL with full by default. And then on medium screens, width will be of auto. Also, I want to copy rest of our attributes, so it inherits all the things like on click, disabled, and so on and so on. Okay, so here we will need to come back and change the link. Let's add to do change button link. And just like that, we created our button. So let's import it now. Okay, now we can see how our project looks like. I will change node version. Hopefully for you, don't need to do that. Okay, so I launched the project and now we can add our section to the page. So our first section. Okay. Let's hide the image. And we don't see it because the text is white. Let's go back to hero section. So over title, I want to create this successful projects badge with stars. So let's start with div, which will be flex. We'll have a gap of 2, so give some spacing. Inside we'll have another div. So flex items center gap will be 0.4. Then at the bottom I will have a paragraph. So this will be text small, text white, and then font bold. So let it be 25. Successful projects. Inside here I want to map an empty array. So this is pretty cool, I think. So I can use a spread operator, then array, and then define how many times I want to map it. Go outside and just map as any array. So I will need index for it. So first argument I can use as underscore, and then like that. And now I can return image. So source will be star image that we will soon import. Also, let's define first thing is a key. So we cannot use index as a key, but we can use some text and then index as a key. So it means that key is now unique. Then let's add alt, star, and of course some width and height will be 16. Okay, so now we need to import our star image. Let's fix imports. React should be always at the top. Next image also at the top because they are external modules. Now I want to import our image, so let's call it star image from. So it'll be like that, public, and then star.png. So since we don't have this image, we get error. And now what I will do is I will delete this public folder and replace it with a new public folder where I have the images. And now we can see that we have these nice stars, but looks like gap is not working. So let's try just gap 1. Okay, now it looks better. So we have our stars and text. So one more thing I want to do is to add this jumping icon. So for this, I want to create another div. So div, I will wrap it inside link. Here I will add href just home for now. We will fix it later. And then rounded lg, rounded full. This will make it a full circle. And then padding will be of 2. Then background transparent. Text white, border 2, border white. We'll add some shadow and animate bounce. We'll make it to jump all the time. And here I will use FA arrow down, which will have size of 24. And for that, I need to install package. So let's install React icons npm y React icons. Let's try to import it now. FA arrow down. Okay, good. And now I want to create a hero carousel. So this is this carousel that has controls and also parallax effect. So I want to go to home folder, modules, and create hero. Oops, not folder. A file called hero carousel. I will have a static array of images. I want to add state, so I will need current image index and then set current image index, and we'll use useState, and by default the index will be 0. Since we are using useState, it automatically becomes useClientComponent. So now I want to remove this here, also put this here, and inside fragments, I want to add a div which will have class of absolute in set 0, and in set 0 is basically top 0, left 0, bottom 0, and right 0. Then overflow hidden, and here I want to map through images. So first image index map. Inside I want to have a div key, let it be index, then class name. Here we will use curly brackets. So this will be absolute. Also we'll have inset of 0. So transition all. With this we will add transition to our opacity and scale animations. Then duration, let it be 1000. And now inside, I want to check if index is equal to current image index. In this case, I want to return opacity 0 and scale 105. And then else I want to have opacity 0 and scale 100. So let's close the div. Now inside div, I want to have NextJS image. So source will be image, alt will be dynamic, carousel image, index +1. Then it will have fill property, so it stretches to our container. Then class name will be object cover and object center. So it's pretty self-explanatory. And priority will have index equal to current image index. So it means that our priority image, and it usually means that it will be loaded faster or first if the index is equal to current image index. Now I want to add a use effect here. Inside I want to create interval. So will be set interval. So here we will have interval each 5 seconds, and we will run image called handle image change, which we will create very soon. And here we will have current image index +1, and then reminder of image dot length. And here I want to add current image index, and let's return clear interval function. So let's now create a handle image change, which will have new index as number. Now I want to check if new index is not equal to current image index, then I want to set current image index to new index, else it will do nothing. Now we can go to hero and try to add our hero carousel. So just right at the top below the first div, so add hero carousel, and looks like we have something. So now we have our MVP hero carousel, which looks already nice, but I see that layout is a bit wrong, so we need to fix that. And what I found was this stupid mistake. So in container class I have justify between, but it was missing one letter of E, and when we add it, it fixes itself. Another issue I see is with the icon. So here, if we go into class name, and we need to define inline block, so it doesn't stretch over the full width. Okay, good. Now how it looks on desktop, and it looks just like that. Let's add some width, max width to paragraph. So on medium screens, max width will be 3XL, and this is fine for now. Now I want to go to hero carousel, and at the bottom to add overlay component. We don't have this component again. So let's go to components and add overlay.tsx. Here, of course, will be empty div. And class name. So absolute in set 0. And then background gradient will be to bottom right. And then color will be from black via neutral 900. So this is the color that will be in the middle. And then to transparent finally, and I want it to be opacity of 90 also. So let's go here and try to import it. And now we have this nice overlay. So next thing I want to show you how to do is these buttons that changes the image from the carousel. For this we need to go to hero carousel component and just below the overlay. So I want to create a div which will be absolute. We'll have right of 4 and bottom of 4. And for now that's it. Inside I will have another div which will have flex, so gap of 2, and then that's it. And here I want to add the index. Let's add 50. Here inside I want to map through images, so image, then index, and here I just want to return a button. Key can be image, then on click, here will be handle image change, and then index. Oops, it's E. Now we need to add class name. It will be inside brackets, width of 12, height of 2, so rounded full, transition all, and duration 300, shadow. Now I want to check if the current image index is equal to index. Then I want background to be primary color, and else I want it to be background white, and on hover I want it to be background gray 200. So we already have our hero section, so it looks just like that. We have custom carousel, which is controlled by buttons, also has autoplay, which is very nice. We have this animated button that will lead us to the first section when we will have it. Also we'll have navigation a bit later, and also we will add parallax effect, but also a little bit later when we'll have other sections, so we have a space to scroll vertically. Now I want to go and create our second section for homepage. So it will be core values. So let's go to modules and create a file called core values.tsx, generate React component, and here I will copy some static data. So just below the component I will copy data that includes my image. So this is image from the public folder, and then title and description. So just like here, icon, title, description. So let's start with section. Section class name will be background neutral 950, and text white. And inside I want to have a div which will be grid. So grid calls.1, and then on large screens will be grid calls 3. And here I want to map the data. Item index. Okay, I want to have curly brackets here actually, and then return. So here I want to check if it is second item, and it means that index will be equal to 1. Then inside I want to return. So div will have a key, so key will be item title, and then class name inside brackets. So it will be flex call, items center, padding of 8, and then we will check if it is second item. So is second item, then I want background to be primary color, and else, oh sorry, just use and operator, and then text black also. Let's close the div. So also for each div I will have another div inside, which will be flex call items center, then gap of 4, and then text center. Let's close the div again, since it doesn't close on its own for some reason. Also, we can go to our page and add this section. So core values. Yeah, we kind of don't have a lot for now. So let's go and finish it. So inside this flex container, I first want to have the div that will wrap our image. So class name inside brackets. So width of 20, height of 20. So border 2. And then I want to check if it is second item. So I want border to be black. And else I want border to be white color. And then the rest of the styles will be rounded full, flex, item center, and then justify center. Also, let's close this div. So inside I will finally have image. So source item dot image. Alt will be icon, and then width will be 34, and then height also 34. So we have our icons. Then below the div that wraps our image, I want to have h3 simply. So this will include item title, and just below I want to have paragraph, and this will include item description. So, and what is only left, just short class max width of SM for the paragraph. And just like that we have our core values section. So there's some mistake on desktop, and again typo in Tailwind. So on desktop it looks like that, and on mobile it looks just like that. Perfect. So next thing we will create is this beautiful About Us section. Also pretty simple. So let's go to our code, and I will close everything and go to Home, Modules, and create a new section, About Us, RAFC, and start with simple section. Inside section we will import container. So first we will have a grid, okay? So text will be on the left, but also text on the right. So grid calls 1 on mobile, and then on medium screens grid calls 2, so gap of 4, and then on medium gap will be of 8, and then margin bottom by default 8, and then on medium margin bottom 12. So on the left side we will have h2 with class name font medium. I just paste the text, and on the right side we will have another text container. So here I will also text some random text, and then below I want to create another div, give it a class of relative. Also we can add this section to our homepage. Just like that. See what we have. Okay. So let's go to About Us, and inside this our new div, let's create a first video. So source will be home video.mp4. You will find this file inside public folder. So by default it will be muted, autoplay will be on, and then loop. So it will loop the video non-stop. Then I want to add some styles. So object cover. Also height I want to be custom of 200 pixels. Then on large screens I want it to be of 450 pixels. And then width full. So it will be self-closing. So we have our video. I want to have some dark overlay on it. So here I will create a div that will be absolute inset 0, and then background gradient to bottom, then from transparent to black, and opacity 100. Let's see now. So now it has this nice overlay. Next thing I want to do is to copy and paste some more data that we will map very soon, and go just below this video container and create another div. So it will have a class with grid. So grid calls to, and then on medium screens it will be flags. So justify between gap 4, MD gap 8, and then margin top of 4. So here I want to map the data, the map item. So first we'll have a div which will have a key item title. Then class name will be text center. Let's close the div. And here inside we'll have our title and description. So title will be h2. It will have margin bottom of 2. And then text will be primary color. So item.title. Let's see what we have. Okay, and just below we will have our paragraph. So class name text sm, and then item description. So it looks like that on mobile, and it looks like that on desktop. And now, as you mentioned, we need some spacing. So to solve that, I want to create another component which will be called section split, and we will use it in our main pages. So first I want to create interface. It will have children always. Inside here, let's add children, and class name for it will be background. Will be custom color. MD will have padding vertical of 32. On mobile, padding vertical will be 8. Space Y12. And then on MD, space Y32. Now what I want to do is to go to our page, and when it is about us, take it and add section split. And now I want to add all the sections that will have spacing between inside section split. So now, as you see, on mobile it looks decent, on desktop also it looks decent. And now I feel that we actually forgot one important thing, and it is this section marker. And for this we will create a component. So again, let's go to our components folder. So we'll call it section name. So my section name props will have a name, which will be string, and also ID. ID will be optional. Section name props, name ID. So first div will have ID. Then class name will be flex, gap 4, item center, and margin bottom of 8. Inside this div, I want to add another div. So class name height, so height 1, width of 10, and then background will be primary. And then below, I want to have paragraph, which will be class name uppercase. And here I want to pass name. So if we go back to our About Us section, and just below where container starts, add our section name and name About Us. So we have this split of the section. So looks much nicer now. And that's it for About Us section. So now next thing I want to create is this services section. For this I will create first section in our global modules folder. And now we can start working on it. So first element is of course section. So second goes container. Now I want to post some static data. So here I have this data. Generally it includes just title, description, and link to our services single page that we're gonna create later on. So inside container I want to create a div which will be a grid calls 1, and then on MD will be grid calls 3. Text of this div will be all white. So data map, we will have item index like this. Now return, let's return just fragment for now. Here initially I want to do one thing again, to check if it is a second item, and index has to be equal to 1. And now I want to start styling the service card. So key of course, item title, and then we will have class name, which will be curly brackets. So flex call, justify between. Then we will have some padding on the sides of 4. On MD we will have of 8. Then vertical padding 8. And then on large screens, vertical padding 4. So space Y 12. So it will give some space between elements. Now I want to open template literal and to check now if it is second item. So I want to return background white and text will be black. If else, then I want background to be primary. So basically what it says, it's if the item is a second, so it will have white background like here, and else it will have a yellow background. Very nice, very good. So inside I want to do like this now. So first it will be h3. Here will be just number of a card, so simply 0, and inside we can use index +1 and then dot in the end. So just below another h3, and here we'll have item title. Next we will have a item description in this paragraph. Now down below we will have our buttons. So for now flex and justify between. Let's close the div. So basically this last div will be for the button and also for this thing. So let's start with the button. So there will be a link. So href will be item href. So inside link I will have a button. Button will have a class name. So here curly brackets. Let's close the button. And here I will start with border 2. And now we'll open template literal and check if it's second item. Again, I want to have a border black, and else by default it will have border white. Other styles is padding 4 and it will be inline block. Inside button we will have an arrow. So we have a arrow right. So size 24. So just below the link, now I want to have this thing. So simply we'll create two divs. So class name, let's close the div. So it'll be inside brackets. So relative rounded LG, width of 16, height full, border 2, and now template literal. So check if it's second item. Then will be background primary, and border also will be primary, and else, so background will be white and border also white. Okay, so we have first div, and let's go to a page and add our section of services over here and see how it looks. Okay, it looks just like that for now. So it looks like that, and I see that some styles are very off. So for this to fix, we have to go to Tailwind config, and I will copy the second line, and instead of components I will add modules. So now by default our modules were not included in Tailwind config as we created a global modules folder. So now we see that all the styles working and looks good. Just now we have to fix this last thing. So for this we need to add a div which will be absolute inside. So div, so it will be absolute with full height full, right 2, bottom 2, and check if second item, then background white, and else background primary. So now we have this nice pointing arrow into the corner that we just created. Here it looks good on desktop and on mobile also. And again we forgot something inside the services section. So section name will be name services, like this. Now we have this services badge. Good. Next thing I want to create is projects section, which basically will include this custom carousel, which plays on autoplay. Also has dots navigation, arrow navigation. For this, we will use a package. So we can go to Embla Carousel. Go to examples, and I will go straight to GitHub. So like this, we can install it. I'll open terminal, install it. Good. So I will go back and I will click on generator. So here I will choose React plus TypeScript. So I want my cursor to be horizontal, left to right. Good. Also I want it to loop. I want it to have dot navigation and previous and next buttons. I want slide size to be 100% of my container. And then I want it to autoplay. So I can click here, create a sandbox. And here I should get the code basically. So let's start with this Embla carousel. So here inside components, I will create a folder called carousel. And here I will create a component Embla carousel.tsx and copy. Looks like we installed a wrong package. So here we'll copy this, open new terminal and install Embla Carousel React. This should fix our errors, and also we have to install this, I think. So npmy Embla Carousel autoplay. Good, so it removed the errors, and now we have to import our two other components. So here we'll have arrow buttons, Embla Carousel arrow buttons, tsx, so copy, and now I want this file, Embla carousel.button, so Embla carousel.button, like this. So now I copied the components, but now we need to copy also Embla CSS. So for that, let's copy and open globals, and right below body, I will copy the styles. But here we see that it has a lot of dynamic values like this. So I want to remove margin left from here, and the rest of the code I want to copy into ChatGPT and ask it to remove dynamic values and replace with static values. So let's see what we will get. Okay, so it looks like it managed to do that. So let's go back and remove all the Embla CSS and change with this file from ChatGPT. I think we can remove also these values. Now we can go to modules and create a new file called projects. So here I will start with section, then container, basically as always. And now I want to have, at the top I will have section name. So name will be equal to projects. And just below I want to have Embla carousel, which will have slides. And for slides, now we're gonna use images that will be just static images. So hero.jpg. Okay, let's change it a bit. So images. Now I will add our project section to the homepage. Now we get error. So Embla carousel has to be client. So we define it as use client. And here we have a carousel, which looks pretty nice. So now I want to go to Embla carousel and change the types of slides. So first I want it to be interface. So carousel props, like that. So instead of array with numbers, it will be string, array of strings. And now I want to add additional type. So slide, which will have image string, title string, and then description also a string. And here I want to add or slide. So now where the slides are mapped, I want to do a few things. So here I want to add slide with index. On first item I want to add overflow hidden. And now I want to change key. So it will be slide and then index. Inside I want to check if type of slide is equal to string. Then I want to return image, which will have source slide. Alt will be carousel image. It will have fill. And then class name object cover. And otherwise I want to return everything wrapped inside a next link. So for this we'll use slide.link. Okay, so link doesn't fit here. Let's see. Okay, so instead of description it should be link. Good. Now I want image here. So source slide.image alt carousel image. It will also be fill and class name object cover. And below that I want h3 where I will put our slide title. So for h3 I want to add also class name, which will be a big one, absolute left 8 bottom 4, then inline block, text will be white, and also I want to add background gradient to right, and then from black color to transparent, and padding of 2. So we have our carousel and we have already pictures. So good. Since our project borders are rectangle type, so here I want to remove rounded wrappers, and these make to rectangle type. So let's go to global CSS. I will try to search for radius. So here we'll try to comment. Okay, so this changed. Let's remove it. Also, let's remove the radius from dots. So now this will become rectangle. Just like that. Okay, good. So we have functional carousel. Since our carousel doesn't stretch full width on desktop, I will have to go to globals and remove this line from Embla. We remove max width, and now it should stretch the full width, just like that. So just like that, we have fully functional carousel. Later we will add data with title, so we'll have title over here. Also we'll change projects, so projects will come from Strapi headless CMS, and we will display them dynamically inside projects. So more fun to come. Now before going to contact section, I want to create this beautiful section for career. So contact us basically will lead to contact us page with contact form. So let's get it done. Now I want to close everything again. I will go to home page, modules, and add career, TSX, RAFC. As always, start with section, inside container. Inside container we will have section name. It's kind of repetitive already. And now we will have a grid. So div class name will be grid calls 1, and then medium grid calls 2, then gap of 8. Let's close it. So basically we'll have two divs here, one and second. So inside first div we'll have some info. So we'll start with h2 and class name will be mb4, and then join our team. So next will follow next image. Here I will take just simply for public worker.jpg picture, alt will be worker, and here I will use a responsive image. So to achieve that, use sizes, then we have to define width and height shall be 0, and now class name, so height will be auto, width will be full, and hidden it will be only on medium and larger screens. And let's add some margin bottom to it. So good. So on mobile we will show this image only. Now some paragraphs. So for paragraphs I will add a wrapper that will have space y of 4. Then we'll have one paragraph, we'll have some lorem, and another one. And just below that I will add a button. Actually, let's move the bottom down like this, and margin bottom 4. So if we go to page and add career section, let's see how it looks. Okay, good. Let's maybe add some smaller paragraphs because it's a bit crazy. Yeah, like that, something like that, something like that. Now I want to have another div. So basically I will use the same image, just will modify the styles a bit. So by default it will be hidden, and then on MD it will become block. And I will remove margin bottom. Now I want to below another image, so this will be dots.png. So alt will be dots, width 200, height 200. Also, we will add a class name. So class name will be absolute, left 0, bottom 0. Then transform. We will translate it in x-axis by 50%, and then we'll do the same on y-axis, also translate 50%. By default it will be hidden on mobile, and on Indeed it will be block. Actually we can do this stuff. Actually we can move these styles to the parent element. Let's try it. So just like that it looks on mobile, and then on desktop it looks like that, and just like that we have our career section. Okay guys, so now to the more interesting stuff, and next thing we're gonna build is this contact form. So this contact form will include two components and main component of contact form itself. So we'll have information one component, and then the form in another component with some interesting logic using NextJS 14. So first thing, we need to go and create a folder inside global modules. I will call it contact form, and now I want to create index. So here I will create a component, call it contact form, or actually I will call it contact us. So here I will have a section, class name. So this section will have a background. So text white, py8, and then py32. So as always, inside we will have a container, and inside we will have a grid. So grid calls 1, md grid calls will be 2, then gap 8, and then md gap 16. And here we'll have two components, so contact details and then contact form. So let's go and create those components. Let's start with contact details. I will have to wrap it inside div because here we're gonna use grid, and it has to be some element and cannot be just fragment. First I want to start with image container. So relative width 24, height 24. Now inside I will have image. Source will be award. We will import it soon. Alt award. Then fill. Class name will be object cover. And also rounded full. So import award from public award.png. Actually I want to rename contact form to contact us. So now I will create contact form.tsx and just leave it like that for now. Let's import it over here. Contact form, contact details. Good. Let's go back to contact details and finish the component. So below we'll have h2, which will say contact us. class name will be my4. Just below that we'll have p element. Class name will be text.lg mb4. And now I will copy some lorem ipsum text. So I have some line breaks in between texts. And just below that, I want to have this badge of successful projects. So I want to go to here. So I will copy all this thing. Now go to global components. We'll create badge.tsx and copy the things over here. We have to import our image like that. So if we import our badge over here now, should be all the same. Okay, good. Remove image. And now in contact details, I want to reuse the badge. So let's see. Also, let's put our contact to our page. And since contact as form has its own background, so we add it under the section split. Now it looks strange for some reason. So I found mistake, and here instead of closing the image with div, I left it in the end, and now it looks better. So now I want to go to contact form and then continue with our other component. And this component will include some actually logic. So let's start with form. Form will have a class, space y for inputs, background white for the form, then padding of 8. Oh, also text will be black and rounded LG. Now I want to go to components and create an input. So here input props, and we're gonna return input with class name and rest of the props. And class name for the input will be with full, background neutral 100, then p3, rounded LG, focus, outline none, focus also ring 2, and then also for focus we will add ring yellow color. Now I can go to contact form and start using them. So every input block will have a div which will have space y of 2, then it will have a p tag which will have class name text base and font extra bold. We'll start with name, and then it will have an input. So name will be name, type text, and required. So I want to copy this 2 times. So here will be email. Also type will be email. And here we'll have a phone. Name phone, and then type we'll leave text simple. And now I want to copy one more time. Here message. And instead of input, I want to add text area. Name message and required. And I want to copy this class name from input. Good. And then below that, I want to have a div flex justify center. And it will have our button. And button will have just send text. So now the question is how to make this form functioning. So we can make a request. So now we can add some logic. Also, let's look how it looks in general. It looks bad because we made a mistake here. So I want to go here and add state form action, which will come from use form state hook. So first argument will be our function that we will soon create, and then initial value of response message. So it will be just empty. Now I want to go to global and create a folder called actions. Inside actions, I want to have resend.ts. First thing I want to do is use server directive. So our code runs on the server only. Then resend will be new resend, and then process.env.resend API key. So API key we will create just a little bit later. And for the resend, we need to go and install it. npm by resend. Now we should be able to import it. Good. And now we will create this send form function. So export, it will be a sync. It will have two arguments, so brief state will be message string, and then form data that we'll get from the form. Another thing we want to install is Zod. So Zod we're gonna use for our form inputs validation. So npm y Zod. Now let's go and create a schema. And here it is important to write our input name first. So in our case will be name, and then let's import z. So z name has to be string, and also minimum characters will be 1. Then next we have phone. Basically I will copy the same. Then email. For email we will use string first and then validate as email. And for message, again we will use the same as two first inputs. So now we need to parse those inputs and check the form data. So we use our schema, save parse, and then name. So form data get name, and then phone, email, and message. Now we can check if it parsed successfully. So if parse success, then I want to return message, which will be just error. Here's success. Otherwise, I want to destructure the inputs. And now inside try and catch blocks, I want to add some fetching logic. So here I will get error from resend request, and then await resend emails send. Here I will just simply copy the template. So here I just have from, also added phone here, and then resend email, then whom I want to send it to, then subject line, and then HTML. You can also use React here and add your beautiful React component over here, but I will keep it as a HTML for now. Now just below we need to check if it is error, and then return message error, which we will use a bit later. And else I want to just return message success. So now let's go to resend. So I'm already registered, and if you are not, just register on any account, go to API keys and create a new API key. So I will simply copy it. Now let's go to code and here create a file called env.local. So here will be our resend API key. We'll paste it over here. So after this tutorial I will delete it, so don't worry. And now we can use the resend API key over here. So let's go to contact form, import send form, and here in form I want to add action, which will be form action from the hook. Now instead of this button I want to create submit button. So const submit button, it will return button, type will be submit. In this button I will be able to access a hook called use form status. So this will give me pending value. I will rename it to is pending. And now if it is pending, I will say sending or else send. So now let's go and put our submit button over here. And the only reason submit button has access to this state with use form status is because it is inside a form component. So we cannot just use button over here and have this state inside contact form. Now I want to create our status messages after request. So first let's return error. So state message equal error, then have a div, be flex item center space x2, text green 500. Then inside I will have be check circle, color will be green, and then below I will have p element, will have aria live polite, and then class name text base and not SR only, and simple text. Oops, actually let's here change to success. And now just copy this and below change to error, change text, here will be red. So we get this error because we have to declare directive use client. Now let's test our form. So first we got error, and I see that we have a mistake here. So here we will use berror circle and color red, and here also text will be red 500. Now we need to go and check what is the error. And we got error because we only can send emails to the email we used to register in Resend. So if I change and try again, now we get success message. And if we go to Resend and logs, we see that this was successful. So less than a minute ago. So that's it with contact form. We made it, and thank you for watching. Next will be footer. So to ease our brains a bit. Okay, so now I want to create footer. Inside modules, create footer.tsx, refc. Start with footer. Background will be neutral 950. Text white py4. Border top will be 1. And border neutral 700. And inside I will have container. Then div class name will be flex call md will have flex row. Justify between items center. Then md items will be end and gap 4. So first we'll have logo. We don't have this component, but we will create soon. Next will be p element, and in the end will be another div element with class flex gap of 4 for the social icons. So let's add class name for p element. Text will be XS text neutral 400, then font semi bold. Now to get copyrights sign, we can use this copy and now add dynamic date. So dot in the end, made by, and I will add a link over here. Will have href and target will be blank. So I'm gonna add href over here, and now we can move to the container below. So here also it will be wrapped inside link. Href just a hash. Target will be blank. For first I want to have BS LinkedIn, then size 24. And for second I want to copy and just change BS Instagram. Now I want to go and create a logo component. So I will wrap this inside link from NextJS. Href for now will be just homepage. And then inside I will have next image, which will have source logo 2, PNG, alt will be logo, and then width 40 and height also 40. So I can go to footer, import the logo now. Now let's go to layout, and layout is inside the app folder. So just below children, I will add footer. Now our footer looks like that on the mobile, but looks like we don't have a border for some reason. If we add border too, okay, we will have it. And like this, it looks on desktop. Alright, so now what I want to do is to create this about us page. So it will include banner will include custom coded breadcrumbs. Also, it will include this scrollable menu. It will be only visible for desktop and hidden on mobile, and basically a lot of static data. And in the end, we will have our component from the home page. So yeah, so I feel that this page will not make us any challenges, only this breadcrumb will be a bit hard. So let's try to make it. So now to create a new page, we can go to app and create about folder. So our page URL name will be about. So here I can create page tsx. So for this to be a bit easier, I will go here and copy the home page, paste it here, call it about, and just remove everything. Inside about, I can create now a folder. So I will create modules folder. And since our banner will be visible across many inner pages, so I will create a banner in our global modules. So it will be relative, width will be full, then height will be 260 pixels, and on MD height will be 300 pixels. Inside I want to have image. Source will be hero2.jpg, so I will use the same image across the pages. Banner, fill, class name or object cover. Oh, good. Then I want to have our overlay component over here. And so later we will have our breadcrumbs. So for now we can create just a wrapper for it. It will be absolute bottom 4 left 0 width full height auto. So inside I will have container and just something for now. So let's go to our about page, add banner, and we can test through our URL. So we have our about page. Good. Automatically we have footer because we have footer inside our layout file. So now first thing I want to add is section split, then container. Oops. So inside container first we'll have our title, about us, class name MB8, and then just below we'll have a div which will be grid. So grid calls 1, MD grid calls, it will be custom this time, so I want first column to be 2 fractions, and then another column to be 1 fraction. So gap 4 on MD gap will be 8. It will be relative and min height, screen height. So first div and then second div. So first div will include information, images, and another div will include links that will be sticky. So for first div I want to add class name space y8. Now I want to create component which is called company history tsx. Here we'll have just some information. So section name will be called company history, and then ID will be company history. We will need ID when we're gonna click one of our links to scroll to the section. So here I just want to add some lorem, some breaks, and then more lorem. Okay, and for now, like that. So here I can add company history now. Good. Now I will add another section. So call it our employees tsx refc. Now I will copy and paste some data. So this is people, and it will include image, name, and their position at work. So section name will be name, our employees, ID, our employees. Then below I will have a div. Again, grid calls 1, MD grid calls 2, gap 4, and MD gap 8. Now I want to map people. Div will have key, person title, oops, let be person name, close the div. So first I will have image wrapper, which will be relative and height 56. Again, divs are not closing. So image and source will be person image, alt person, fill, and class name will be object cover. Good, so we have first div, and then we're gonna have h5, so class name mt1, and then will be person.name, and below that we'll have p element, which will have person position. Okay, so I think that's it. We can try to add this section just below our company history, so our employees. We can make the image a bit higher on mobile. And then MD height will be 52. Now I want to add manager section, so call it our management RAFC. Here I will also paste some data, also includes image, name, and position as previously. So start with section name again, name our management, and then ID our management. Now we can map managers manager name, like that. And now here I want to reuse our image, title, and position from here. So I will go to our employees, take this whole thing, and inside about page I will create components folder and create card component. So here I will leave fragments, and inside I will paste the contents. So create interface, card props. So will be image, name, and position. So card props, image, name, position. Okay. Like that. Now we can try to go to our employees and use the card and just spread the person so it passes all the props. Okay, so we have the same result. Looks like it's working. And we can now go here and do basically the same. Also spread manager. And if we go to our page and our management, we should see our management now. So for management, I forgot to add a grid wrapper. So I will go to our employees, copy this grid. I will not create component for it because it's just too specific and I don't think it's necessary in this case. Like this, and it should be fixed now. Yeah, so we now have a nice view. Now we'll go and create our vision. So as before, section name, our vision, and then ID, our vision, and then P element, again some lorem, some breaks, and more lorem. So this one will be simple. Let's add it to our page, our vision. Okay. Last section for this div will be certificates section. Oh, section name. Okay, and P with some lorem. And then create a div which will be grid. Grid calls 1, MD grid calls 2, items center, and gap of 8. Inside I will have two divs. So first div will be a flex, which will be justify center and items center. Then I will have image, so source will be certificate.jpg, and width will be 160, height 160, alt will be certificate, class name will be rounded full, and overflow hidden. Then in second div I will create a responsive next image, so source will be certificate to png, alt certificate, sizes 100, then we have to define default width and height of 0, and then class name will be height auto and width full. Okay, now let's go to page and add our last section to first div. So certificates. Let's add some spacing on mobile here. Or let's add for mobile and desktop in case. So we have first part of our page. Now I want to create links over here that will be sticky and will lead us to the sections over here. They will be visible only on desktop actually. So to achieve this, I will copy and paste array with links. So includes href, so the IDs we give to the each section. And then it includes text, so how the link will be called. So first div will have a class name of relative, then second div will have class name sticky and top 16. This top 16 will be needed later when we're gonna create a navigation, so it is visible. Now inside I want to create an ordered list, which by default will be hidden, and on MD will be block, space on vertical axis. And now I want to map links. So link, actually let's wrap it and get index from it. List item, class name will be flex, item center, and then gap of 2. Key will be link text. Inside I want to have a span, which will be width 8, height 1, and background primary. And then below that I want to have link. Href will be link href, and class name underline, and inside will be link text. So on mobile it should be not visible, and it's not, and on desktop it should be visible, also sticky. And we have the spacing because we define top 16. If you don't want to have it, define top 0. So let's see if it works. Employees, management, vision. So vision doesn't work. And certificates works, but it's not enough space for scrolling, so it just scrolls to the bottom. So let's see why our vision card doesn't work. Okay, so we missed a dash here. And okay, and now it works. Now let's go to page, and I want to add one more thing. It will be core values. Let's see how it looks. So good, it sticks to the footer. Very nice. Just be sure to add it outside section split. So just like that, we have about us page. We are now just missing breadcrumbs over here. So this is what we're gonna do next. So pretty interesting stuff. And now I feel it's a very good time to create our breadcrumbs functionality. Go to components and create breadcrumbs. RAFC. So first thing we want to do is to get the path name. So const path name, use path name hook will return me the path name, and automatically I'm using this client side hook, so I will use client directive, so it is client component. Now what I need to do with path name, I need to split it by the slashes. So paths, path name, split by the slashes, and now I want to use filter to filter the trophy paths like this. Now here I want to have a nav, and inside I will have ordered list, which will have class name flex item center space x2 and then text small. So first list item will always be home, so href like this and home, and below I want to map paths, so map path index, so return will be list item, key will be path. So here I want to do several things. First I want to form href, form our link basically. So href will be equal, and now we're gonna build the path. So paths slice 0 index +1, and then we're gonna join them by a slash. So basically what this does is takes the paths array and it slices the correct path by using the index, and then it just joins it with a slash, so it is a proper link. Now we will need another constant, which will be is last, so we need to check if it is equal to paths length -1. And now I want finally to modify our path, and I want first letter just to be uppercase. So path, I will use character add, so 0 and 2 uppercase. And then we will take the rest of the path with slice 1. So with that, now we can return our HTML or JSX with other words. So div class name flex items center. Here will be first span. It will have a slash. So class name for it will be mx2 text gray 400. And now I want to check if is last. Then I want to return just a span and not a link. So what will be path inside? So class name for it will be text white and font medium. And optionally I want to return a link, which will be href and equal to href. And so inside we'll have path text. Class name for it will be text white. And now basically we have our breadcrumbs. Later we're gonna update it a bit. But now I want to go to our banner and change here A with breadcrumbs. Okay, so looks good. Just one thing we need to do is to go to the link here where is home and add class name of text white. So now it is clickable. If I go to and we can go back to about page, we see it on desktop also. So very nice. We're still gonna need to go back later and modify it a bit, but for now it is just perfect. So now in a similar manner, let's create a services page. So it will look like this. So we will just create this section. This section we already have. Also we have projects. We're just gonna modify it a bit. So we have this title over here. And yeah. So now I just want to grab this about and paste it. So rename it to services. I'm gonna remove components. Also gonna remove modules. Inside I will remove almost everything. Like this. Like that. And links also we can remove. Rename the page services section. Okay, we need to re-import it. Section split. It has to have children. Okay. So let's actually create modules. Inside I want to have achievements, tsx, fc, achievement. So let's add achievement. Let's check our services page. Like that. Also let's remove the core values, will not need it for this page. So for achievements, let's change this to section. And then container inside. First h1, class name mb8 will be called services. Here I will have grid, so grid calls 1, then md grid calls 2, gap 12. And here I will have two p tags, so with some lorem, and another one also with some lorem ipsum. Let's make this gap a little bit smaller on mobile, and then on MD let's have gap of 12. Next thing I want to do, I want to add services section. Okay, so we have services page, so and services section with the same name. So in this case I just renamed the services page and can import services, or we can leave services and then call it as like that. So we have services page. And also one more thing, I want to add projects. Projects that uses the carousel. And again, I want to go to projects, and now I want to ask Copilot to create array with image, title, and href. using images from images. So just like that, we have new array. So if we try to pass the data, okay, we have this error, and this error comes from the naming of the props. So we have to rename it to link and not href. Now it's all good. So now we have this title over here. I will remove these images, and yeah, that's it. We have our services page. So next we're gonna create contact us page, and it will include the same banner, contact us section that we have from our homepage, but we will add this leaflet map, and it is not that hard maybe as it looks like. So I want to close everything. So go to map, services, and just copy again services, call it about, call it contact. I will remove modules for now. So call the page contact. So remove this, good. So just below I'm gonna add contact us. So we should be able to visit contact. Oh, I love how it is easy to create a page in NextJS, crazy. So now let's create a map component. So map.tsx refc, and go to a leaflet, and I will install it first. Just like that. Now I think we have to install types because we are using TypeScript. Good. I will go to setup, copy this stuff, and replace it here. So import map container, then tile layer, then marker, and pop-up we will not need it. Also, I will create a constant position. Here I will paste coordinates of Vilnius in Lithuania. So this has to be a tuple of number and number. And now we can pass it over here and over here. We'll add a class name for it. So I want a height to be 96 and width to be full. And let's try and put it to contact page. So map. Okay, so let's use client. And now we have this map, but the problem is styles. And what I found is that I had to import 3 lines of CSS for it to work properly. So here are these CSS lines. So we get this error because it looks like we need to install one more package. So go to leaflet, default icon compatibility, and copy this over here and install it. So now it is fixed. And so now we have our map, but what I noticed that I cannot zoom into a map and zoom out. So to achieve that, we need to change this scroll wheel to zoom to true. And now we should be able to do that. So we can zoom out, zoom in. And yeah, So just like that, we have our contact us page. And here we also have our breadcrumbs. Good. So now we will create our inner services pages. So we'll have 3 pages. So general contracting and renovation and restoration. Also monolithic construction. So as you see, all their structures are the same. So we will create one page and then just pass dynamic content like here and here and here. So now I want to go to app, then services and modules, and create service page content tsx component. So here remove the divs, leave just fragments, and then at the top we will have banner, then section split. Let's close it. Inside we will have container. At the top we will always have a title. So MB8, and then we will have title. We will define it. So at the bottom outside container we will have projects section. Then below the title we will have a div with class name grid. Grid calls 1, md grid calls. Here we'll use some custom sizing. So 0.35 fractions, and another will be 0.65 fractions, like that. And then some gap. No, actually let's not add a gap here. Let's add background white. First div will have an image, so relative and height full, and inside image source will be dynamic, service image, let it be, fill, and then class name object cover. Good. Then below another div with class name p of 12, so we'll have large padding, and here paragraph. So here we'll have description. Then below p I will have a button. So inside bottom I will have view projects text, and also I want to add a link. And later it will link to projects. Okay, let's now define props for it. So title, description, and image. Service page content props. So title, description, and image. So also what I want to add here, that description can be a string or a React node. So it means that we can just pass a fragment that will have a line break or 2 line breaks and so on. Okay, good. So basically we have our service page content and we can create the pages. So first page will be general contracting, and inside now I have to add page.tsx and then export default function general contracting, and just like that we have our new page, which is general/contracting. And here we can return service page content, wrap it like that. And now we have to pass title, description, and image. So now I want to add static data for this component. So it will include title, which will be general contracting. Then image will be hero.jpg, and then description will be fragment. Oops. So fragment with description and then some line breaks. So here I just can now spread the data and it should be okay. So if we try to go now to services general contracting, we have our page, and like this it looks on mobile. So we have to fix our mobile version a little bit. So service page content. So where is button? Let's add some margin here. Let's see, of 4. Then for the image, so on desktop it spreads according to the content, but on mobile I want it to be height 96. Okay, so now it looks like that, and on desktop it looks like this. So as you see, one thing changed in our breadcrumbs. So I want to remove this slash over here. So you just have space instead of that. So go to breadcrumbs. And here we're just gonna have to add some small piece of logic for removing the dash and inserting space instead of it. So for this we need to take paths and use for each. So here we can get path and index. So paths, index, path, replace. Yeah, so we get regex already. So yeah, so this will remove the dash and insert a space. And we see it's already working. So now I want to go and copy this general contracting folder basically 2 times. And our another service is renovation and restoration. So inside here we need to just change the name and restoration. Oh, also guys, let's go to this service page content and add subtitle. So will be P. Let's add subtitle. Let's define it here. Subtitle. It will be just a string. Subtitle. Let's add some margin to it. Will be 8. So now let's go to our general contracting first and add subtitle. Okay, here is our first subtitle. Now go to renovation and restoration page, and let's just change the contents over here. So renovation, use caps lock, renovation and restoration. Then image can be hero 3. Let's use the same description for now, and actually let's just use the same subtitle. Like that. Now I will remove this, and instead I will copy now our new page and paste it, rename it to monolithic construction. So here change title. Also I will keep the same subtitle and description, and also I just want to change hero to. So now we can go to services section, and actually we already have correct links, I think. So if we go to services, so then we have general contracting, then we have renovation and restoration, and then last should be monolithic construction. Okay, so we have our inner services pages just like that. So next we're gonna create this advanced page with projects. So it will have our projects, and each project will have its own individual page. Also similar projects, but inside of projects page we will have filtering. So we will have filtering by location and year, and then we will have pagination. So let's get to work. So I want to go to app and create another folder, so call it projects. Inside we'll go page tsx, and here I just want to export default function projects page, just like that. So want to return fragment, then banner, then section split inside container. Then I want to have h1, so class name mb4, call it our work. So first we'll start adding projects without any pagination or filtering. Also we'll use static projects array and not from the projects that are coming from Strapi. We will add them later and change our code according to that. So I will add my projects array. So basically it includes project title, ID, year and location. So year and location we're gonna use for filtering and also for visualizing, so like here. And as you can see, images is array. This is because we will have array from the Strapi headless CMS with images. So I'm kinda preparing for it already, but for now we just have one image inside each array. So now below h1 I want to create a div which will be grid calls 1, and then md grid calls 2, and md gap will be of 12. So here I want to map the projects array. So project like that, and I want to wrap it inside link. So href will be projects, and then just project ID. Also we need to add key. Let's use project title, and here I want to return project component, and I'm gonna spread project information inside here. So now we need to go and create this project component. So I will create components folder, call it project.tsx, and here we're gonna have title, string, year number, location string, and then images array of strings. So project props, that's the structure, year, location, images. So basically here we will have now image wrapper. So it will be relative, height 56, width full, transform, transition, transform. So we'll have some animation. So on hover it will scale to 105, and also hover opacity will become 70. So image source will be images 0. Project image, layout fill, and class name object cover. Now we will create a div that will be absolute and in the bottom of right corner. So absolute, bottom 1, right 1, and gap 1. So in here inside we'll have two divs. So flex, gap 1. So first div, flex item center, gap 2, then padding 2, and background will be white. So image source first will be location.png, alt location, and width 24, height also 24. And so under that p element will have location, and class name for the p will be text small. Then very similar one, we will copy this one and paste just. So calendar, also calendar here, and here will be year. And since it is very repetitive, so we can put it inside component. Let's call it label with icon. So arrayfc, like this. So here I just rename it to text, and here image alt, it's like that. So interface, good. So let's the structure. Now I think we can replace it here. So label with icon, text will be location, image, so location png, and alt location. Here instead of location will be year, and then calendar. Also I want to rename this to icon. And also now the TypeScript is screaming because year is a number, so we can simply add here or number and change image to icon, like that. So we have the project, Good. So let's see what we have. If we have the projects page. Okay, good. We have the projects page with our projects. First, we don't have title under the project. So to fix that, I need to go back to project, and just before last closing div, I will add a p element, and mt will be 2, text excel and font semi bold, and here will be a title. So now I see that we don't have spacing between these, so I will need to go back to page of projects, and then on mobile add some gap. So I think this will work. Also we have double labels, so I think we just forgot to remove our previously defined elements. So like that. Now it looks good. So next I want to add filtering like I have over here, so by location and by year. Yeah, so I will go back to projects page, and what I want to do is to access search params. So by default we can access search params in a page in this nice way, and this is on the server. Search params. So the type will be key, string, and then type of it will be string or string array or just undefined. So now I want to get years and locations from our projects. So years. So for this I will map projects array, and like that, and const locations. So yeah, so here I get all the years and all the locations that we're gonna use in the filtering component that we will go and create now. So let's pass years, will be years, and so locations will be locations. So create new component, filtering.tsx, afc. So first div will be class name flex gap for mb6. Oh, sorry, 8. Now I want to do a few things. We will need some values from here. So first let's take a router. So we'll be use router from next navigation, since it's next 14, and automatically I can already put a use client directive, and so const path name, so use path name. With this hook we will get our path name, and then to get search params on the client, again we can use search params that NextJS provides by default, and which is very nice. So now we will need to create two select buttons. So select name will be year, class name border gray 300 rounded md, then px4 and py2. Later we'll have on change that will have handle change function, and default value I want it to be so will be search params get year. So one thing I want to do now to avoid the static values, because we will use search params in another places also. So I will go to utils. Actually, we still don't have utils, so let's create it. And in utils, I will have route.ts, or actually it will be just types. So I will create a types folder, and here I will have route.ts, and we'll export enum from here, which will be search params. So we'll have year, which will be equal to year, and location, which will be equal to location. And that's it for now. Later we're gonna create a route enum also and add some more search params here. So now we can use this enum search params dot year, and here we need to add a string. So also we will get years and locations from the props. So years, locations. So this will let us add options for the select button or input. So first option will have value of just empty string. Call it filter by year. And then just gonna map years and output the year inside option, and value also will be year. Now what we can do is basically copy this thing and paste it down below. Just instead of year will be location. So I will search for the all places with year and change to location. Location, and here will be locations. Good. So now we need to create this handle change function, and what we want to do is basically, so yeah, first here is a change event, and we target HTML select button. And first thing I want to do is the structure name and value from target. Then I want to construct new params. So params new URL search params, and then search params to string inside. Now I want to set these params with new values. So params set name and value. And then I want to just push for it to be added to the URL. So router push path name plus, and then plus params to string. Now we can go to our page, import filtering component. So we have our filtering over here. Very nice, very good. Now it will not work because we didn't add filtering itself. So let's filter our projects. So projects filter project. So here I want to add some logic. So first I want to take year and location from search params. So const year search params, will be search params using our enum, and equally the same will be for location. And here I just want to add some logic now. So if year and location, I want to return projects that year is equal to year from search param. So number, year. And also project location equal to location from search param. Else, if it is just year, want to return project dot year equal to year from URL, and then else if location, I want to return the same for location. So here I'm not using strictly equal sign for types because it can be number and string. So let's now, instead of projects, map our filtered projects. And just like that, now we have one project for Chicago, one for Miami, for New York, and so on, and so on, and so on. It looks like it is working. So very good. And next we will add pagination. So if we refresh, or if we need to remove our search params, like this, so we will have our pagination. So guys, let's start conquering the pagination. So it's a bit difficult, but we will try to make it. And so first things we need to do is to get the page and per page from the search params. So const page search params, and then search params. We don't have it, so let's add page like this, and then per page. So page will be the number of the page, and the per page will be how many items we want to see in the page. So if it is not trophy, then we want it to be number 1, and then const per page. In a similar manner, we're gonna use per page and just 6. So we're gonna have 6 items per page. And for this reason, now I want to double our items. So we have 12 items. Let me just replace IDs real fast. Okay. So now we'll need to get a start number. When we're gonna slice our array, we're gonna need this number for the start and end also. So first will be number, and actually Copilot gives us the correct logic. So here we're just gonna get start in this way. So number, page, and by default we're gonna have -1, so we don't have it on the first page, and then multiply by how many items we see per page. And now we're gonna have end. Basically it will say where it should end the array. So start plus number per page. So this is where we're gonna start slicing our array, and this is where we're gonna end slicing our array. So we're gonna have now paginated projects, and then filtered projects, slice and define the values of start and end. Then where container ends, I will have a pagination control component. So our pagination control component will have a page prop, then per page prop, then also it will have a boolean if has next page. So this will mean that project's length is more than end, and then has prev page will be equal to start is more than 0, and total pages equal, we need to add total pages logic also, so just below here, total pages, I will use math seal function and divide project's length by per page. Now we'll have total pages, and let's go and create pagination control. And this will not be very hard component, just some routing dynamic, but else it's nothing very special. So first let's define the props. So it will be page. Actually page will be a string. Then per page will be string. Has next page, has previous page, and then total pages. Pagination control props. Let's destructure all of those. Per page has next page, previous page, and total pages. So here the fun part starts. So flex justify center, margin top will be 8, and then inside I will have another div which will have a flex and space x2. So here we will have three elements basically. So arrow left, arrow right, and then our pages. So here will be some large classes. So first we'll go link. For now I will just close it, and inside I want to have fa arrow left, then href will be projects, then question mark, and we will add page search param, which will be equal to number page -1, again to avoid home page issues. Then I want to add another search param, and it will be end, so per page will be per page. So this will just change search params. This will basically change the page by 1, and this is the amount per page of items, in case it in some future will change, but otherwise you can also put 6 here. Now I will add very long class name, so flex items center, px4, py2, then rounded md. Actually, let's have rounded only left side, so rounded L left md. Then border gray 300, background will be white, text gray 700, And then on hover, I want to have background gray 100. And then transition colors. And now lastly, I want to check if it doesn't have previous page. Then I want to basically disable the button. So here I will use pointer events none. Also opacity 50. And else it will be just empty string. Then I want to copy this one and go just below, and instead of minus here, I want to add the page like this. And then the same has previous page, but change to has next page. Now right in the middle, I want to map the total pages. So total pages is numbers, so we're gonna map an empty array. So array total pages map. So first underscore, next index. And then we're gonna return a link. Also here at the top, I want to check if it's current page. Here inside I want to get current page. So index +1. Then let's add a key for it. So we cannot use index, so let's just use page and then index. Also want to add class name here. So px4, py2, border top, border bottom, border gray 300, then background white, text gray 700. So hover background gray 100 and transition colors. Now I want to just check if it's a current number. If it's a current page, then have some different styles. So number page is equal to current page. Then I want background gray 200 and font semi-bold, and else just empty array. And now we need to add href also. So this will be equal to projects, then question mark page. So current page, and then end will be per page equal to per page. Also, let's fix a typo here. So current and current. And I think that it is it. If we go and try to import pagination control, so we have an issue. So page can be also string, array of strings, and per page is the same. Okay, we don't have a number, so use current page. Good. So one thing we want to do also is to remove pagination if the items is less than 6. So I will add is pagination visible. So paginated projects length is more than number per page. So now like that. And also we need to change, instead of filtered projects, we need to use paginated projects. And also let's remove the things from URL for now. So now we have one issue, because by default our projects are not displayed. So I will return true by default, so it will return all the projects if the year and location are not in the search params. And also I think here we need to change, instead of paginated projects, to filtered projects. So we have this pagination, and so just like that, looks like we have our basic filtering and also pagination. Oh, and also let's go and change the arrow here. It should point to the right. Pagination control, FA arrow right, like that. Guys, so I noticed that we have a very strange issue, and after debugging for 30 minutes I came to a very stupid thing. So here where we map our paginated projects, we have key project title, and since we copied our projects, so we have the same project title 2 times, but we have unique ID, and if we add ID, we don't have this bug anymore. Just like that. So cool, we have our pagination, we have our filtering, and now I will want to go and work on inner page for the project. So next we're gonna create an inner project page. So it will be looking like this, simple and nice. So I will close all our files and folders, go to app, go to projects, and then create a new folder, and just gonna call it ID. And then of course we need to create, go to ID folder and create page tsx. Here I will want to export default function work. Like that, and inside I have access to params. So params will be an object with ID, which will be a string. Now I want to return fragment, inside return banner, then section split, and inside I want to return project single section that we're gonna soon create. So basically we have our projects inside projects. Let's for now just export it. We're gonna replace them anyway a little bit later. So what I want to do is to take this ID. This ID will come from the URL, and so yeah, take also what I want to do now is to find this single project by the ID that we get from URL. So I will map projects and then use find. Then take project here and check if project ID is equal to number params ID. So in this way we'll have the project, and now we can go and create this section, create modules, and so project single RAFC. So I will just wrap it inside a container, and also use section. Then I will have h3 and before it will have a title from our props that we will soon declare, and then we will have Embla Carousel. So slides will be images, and yeah, for now it is okay. I will just add a to-do to remove controls. So we will add additional prop to Embla Carousel to remove controls if we want. Next will be div with a bit longer class name. So grid calls 1, md grid calls. Here we will have custom again. So 0.8 fr and then 0.2 fr. So gap of 4, md gap will be 8, and then mt4. Just below we're gonna have project description, and then we'll have a container for our labels. So class name flex wrap, items center, justify start, and then on md justify end, and then gap 2. So here class name flex, items center, gap 2, and then padding 2, background primary. Here use image from NextJS, use location.png, alt location, then width will be 24 and height also 24. Just below the image we'll have ap with location, and then class name will be text sm, and I want to copy this thing, so paste it here and change to calendar. Here will be year, and alt also calendar. And now I want to add this for components. So components, label with icon and color. AFC like this. So icon, alt, and then text. Create interface for that. So icon, alt, and text. Now we can try and replace it. So icon will be location.png, alt location, and then text, location. Actually, text has to be location. Now we'll copy it, remove it here. So calendar, and then year over here. Let's add interface. So project single props, title, images, description, location, and year, like that. And now we can go to page and try to import it, project single. Okay, now we need to go to projects, and let's try and ask Copilot to add short description for each project. Okay, I think it is good. So here, if we pass our project now, should be fine. So we can check if a project is truthy, then we return project single. Now number is not assignable to type of string. So here let's add number, and also here will be either string or a number. Okay, so now if we go to one of our project pages, we should get our project. And now one thing we want to do is to remove the controls. So Embla carousel. So here this part I want to have conditional. So is controls visible, then let's display it, and now let's add it. Like that, and by default it will be true. So let's go to single project page, and then project single. So is control visible will be false. And okay, we have our project. So later we will have a slider. We will have more images for each project. Now I want to create a similar projects section. So it will take projects, and I will pass similar projects. And here is how I will get similar projects. So const similar projects will be just filter at projects that have equal location. So projects. So project, then location to project location. So here we will rename it, and then have a check. And another condition we'll have, I want this project to be excluded from the similar projects. So we'll check if PYD is not equal to project ID. Like that. And now we can go and create similar projects. ESX, RAFC, and interface. So will be projects. So let's define any for now array, or actually let's change it to interface project props. It will have title, images, year and location. Also I want ID, which will be a number. So projects will be equal to project props array. So projects, then similar project props, and inside we'll have pretty easy section. So section container, and also here we'll have section name. So name similar projects, and here I will have a grid of 3 calls and 1 column on mobile. So grid calls 1 and MD grid calls 3. So gap will be 8 on MD and then gap 4. And now we can map our projects. So projects map project, then return. We will return a link. We'll wrap it inside a link. Then key. Let's use project ID. Also href. So this will be a custom. And then I want to return project component that we already have from before, and pass project from here. For the link, now I want to do another thing. So I want to go to route and create another enum. So export enum route, and this will have all our routes. So home will be home, then about will be equal to about. So services equal to services, projects to projects, and project ID, so contact, and also we'll have separate services pages. So call it like that. Then renovation and restoration, and then monolithic construction. Good, so we have our enum for routes. Now here I want to use route projects, then slash, and then project.id. Okay, so let's import our similar projects component, and let's see what we have. So we have now our similar projects, and if it's just one item, will show one item, 2 items, 2, but maximum it will have to show 3 items. So I will use slice and then 0 and 3, and only if similar projects length is more than 0, then I will return similar projects. Oops, looks like I made a big one here, like that. And now, as you see, our breadcrumbs are showing this ID. So for this tutorial, I will not show project name for each, but what we can do is to check if that last path is a number and then pop it from our paths. So if number is integer, number paths, so paths length -1, here should be paths, and then paths pop. So it will pop the last ID. So basically we have to go back like that and everything still works fine. So now I want to go and replace all our link hrefs to route enum that we have created. So here we don't need to do it as it passes a prop. Then over here change to route projects. Here is all good. So here route projects. Here will be route.home. Here is all good. So here will be route.contact. Here route.home. Slide link is all good, and then item href. Here we can add our links. So route general contracting. So renovation and restoration and monolithic construction. And then I want to make the hero section to have this beautiful parallax effect. So for this I need to go to hero carousel. So first we will need to add some logic here. So state will have offset and set offset. So React use state by default it will be 0. And then we will have a container ref. Just gonna use it like that, HTML div element or null. And by default we will have it as null. Then below this use effect I will create another use effect. So this use effect will listen to scroll event. So first let's create handle scroll function. So it will say set offset window scroll y. And now I will add window add event listener scroll, and then we'll have to return remove listener. So when component on mounts we don't have any problems. Next, in between I want to add additional use effect. So just like that. So inside we need to check if container ref current is true. Then I will define speed of the parallax. And now I want to take this container, which will be a div, and access the style and transform property. And now make it translate on y-axis like that. So first I want to have offset and then multiplied by speed and pixels. So now we can add a ref, which will be container ref, and see how it looks. And it doesn't work for now because we need to add a style over here. So style has to be transform and then translate y, and then inside we'll have index minus current image index, and then multiplied by 5 and %. I forgot one crucial thing, so we have to add offset here in the use effect to have it working. So now we have this nice parallax effect using NextJS image as a background. So one thing now to finalize, I want to add navigation. So navigation on desktop will be 1, and then on desktop another component for navigation. So by default it will be fixed all the time. And if we navigate to home, also see that navigation is fixed. And on desktop we have this nice sticky. So let's go to code and then to modules. So for modules we will have a folder of nav, and then inside I will have navigation. So here will be navigation for desktop, or let's call it navigation large screens. So inside here I will have a nav, which will have a class name of so it will be hidden by default, and on MD it will be block. So also fix it top 0, right 0, left 0, then z index of 50, transition all, and then duration of transition 300. And so now we will have a variable which is scrolled. So let's add a state and call it isScrolled and set isScrolled. And then we're gonna have a use effect with some event listeners again. So here I want to create a function first, so handle scroll. And now I want to see if window scroll y is more than 50. I want to set this scroll to true, and else set this scroll false. So below that I will add event listener who will listen to a scroll event and remove event listener on return, on mount. And yeah, here now we can use isScrolled and have a conditional. So and else also like this. So if isScrolled, I want to background be white and then text become black, and then by default background will be transparent and text will be white. Good, so inside nav I want to add container, and then another div which will be flex items center and justify between and height of 16. So first we will have our logo, and then we will have our links that we will just create now. So links.tsx. For links I will paste some static data. So route, then here info. So it will basically include a link, text of the link, and icon. Services, projects, and then gear phone. Like that. Also gonna import search params like this. So instead of div, here we will have an ordered list, and a class name for it will be space y4 md space y0, because we will reuse this links. So we use both so we use both mobile and large screens because we will reuse this links component for mobile navigation and large screens navigation. So md space x4, then flex call, md flex row, and md flex. So now I will map the links, map link. So we will have a li, key will be link text, and inside we'll have a link. So href will be link href, then we'll have a class name of flex items center gap 2 hover text with primary text Excel, and then font medium. So inside link I will have a link.icon. So size will be 14, and then class name will be text primary, and then p with link.text. Now we can go and import links over here, and now I will go to layout, and just above the children I will add navigation, large screens. We get error because we need to define it as a client component. So use client for this component. And let's see how it looks. And let's see if it works. Okay, services, our work. Then contacts. And then homepage. So good. And on mobile we don't have it because we have hidden it by default. And let's go and create now mobile navigation. So let's call it navigation, tsx, rafc. Yeah, so let's use fragment here this time, and first element will be nav, class name container mxauto px4, fixed top 0, left 0, right 0, and then flex, justify between, items center, height will be 16, background white, on MD will be hidden, and also z index of 50. So we have this long class name. So now we'll have a logo, and another thing we will have is our button with icon for menu. So on click, it will have okay, now just let's put it simply as a button, but here we're gonna need a state. So let's have is open, and then set is open, and use state, and by default it is false, all good. So if it is open, then I want to return f8 times, and size will be 24. Else I want to return GUI hamburger menu, and size also 24. So now if it's open, we're gonna return a cross sign, and then else we're gonna return hamburger menu. And so below nav, I want to check if is open. So I want to return a div which will have class name of fixed, so top 16, left 0, right 0, bottom 0, background will be white, and then z index of 50. Inside I will add a container and div here, which will be flex, justify center, justify center, and mt8, and I want to add links over here. So now if you're gonna go to layout and add navigation, should be visible again, so we need to declare it as a client component. So we have our menu. It still doesn't work because we don't toggle our menu state. So let's add const toggle menu like that. Add on click for the button, it should be toggle menu. So now I have a few issues. So if I open it, I am able to scroll. So I want to disable scrolling. And another thing is that when I click on the link, I want this menu to close. So let's see how we can do it. So to disable scroll when the menu is open, I'm gonna use effect again. And I will check if is open. So document body style overflow has to be hidden. Then else it will be auto, and then on return again it will be auto. So like that. Now we can see if we can still scroll, and we can scroll. So we're gonna need to add is open into effects, dependencies, and now we cannot scroll. But we can see this this over here, and it comes from here or carousel, so I'm gonna make it smaller z index. Instead of z50, I will make it z40, and still visible. Everything is working, navigation is working. And now if we gonna go to one of our pages, the menu doesn't close automatically. So I want on click to close the menu. So now to fix that, I will go to links and add a interface links props, and it will be called handle link click. So here will be on click, handle link click, links props, handle link click. And now I will go to navigation. Oh, also let's make this optional. I will go to navigation and add this function. Like that. So to links now. Like that, and it should fix our issue. Okay, just like that. Good. So at this point we already have a very nice website for contractors, and at this time for construction companies. So it is multi-page. It uses multiple difficult functionality components, Parallax, carousels, custom from packages, breadcrumbs, custom routing, pagination, filtering for the projects, and of course contact form. So now one thing is left to add a headless CMS and fetch our projects from Strapi headless CMS instead of just showing static ones. So in next chapter we will do that. And okay, so last chapter is Strapi backend chapter. So here we're gonna create a backend. So we're gonna use Strapi headless CMS, and for that we're gonna create a project now in a few seconds. So instead of these static projects that we use now from an array, we're gonna use it from Strapi headless CMS. So open terminal. I will target desktop, so cd desktop, and then npx create Strapi app. So I will skip the login or sign up to the Strapi cloud. So when it finishes, it will automatically launch it. So here I will use just a random email. And just like that, we came to the Strapi dashboard. So now we can go to content type builder and create new collection type, which will be called project. So API ID will be plural, projects. So first I will have title, which will be short text. Here you can choose long or short. So for now, short text. Then add another field. Will be description. So it will be long text. Then I'm going to add a number. So it will be year. It will be big integer. Then I will have another text which will be location. And lastly, I will have media that I will call images. So just like that, we have our structure for the project. Click Save. Then I will go to media library and upload some assets. So added some images, so upload them. And now inside Content Manager for project, I can create new entry. So modern building in the city center. So random description, year 2022, location Vilnius. Now we can add some images. So I will choose 3 of these and then save and publish. So now in the project I can duplicate it. So another building, change year, change location, and change some images like this. Then again, oh, I have to go and publish. So again, I'm gonna copy it, add some more images. Like that. Here also change title, change year, and location, and also publish. So basically I will just duplicate now I have 8 items. So we have 8 items now. And we can go and try to see how to fetch them. So for this I will create global data folder, call it strapi.ts, and here we'll export const fetch projects, which will be async. So also what we need to do is to go to Strapi dashboard and now to settings, API tokens, and create API token. So call it just token, read only, 7 days, and like this. Now token is created. So I will go to env local, call it Strapi API. Okay, so we will need Strapi URL also. So another thing we're gonna need is Strapi API key, and I will paste it. And so instead of localhost, I will have to use my IP because of Strapi limitations. So keep that in mind. Now we can continue creating our function. So here we'll have try and catch block. And here const response, await, fetch. So process env dot strapi URL projects. Also what I want to do is to go to env local and change here from Strapi API URL to just Strapi URL, and here add API. So now we have this URL. Second, we will have an object with cache. So locally we will have no cache because NextJS automatically caches requests, and authorization will be Strapi API key, like that. So then const data equal to await response.json, and for data I first want to destructure it and then want to define type, which will be project interface array. In catch by default we're gonna return empty array. And now we need to create this interface. Also, let's just return data. So inside types, I will create another file called strapi.ts, and here I will copy project interface. So basically it has image attributes here, and most of them will not use, we're gonna use just URL, but just so you know, there exist many. And project interface where we have title, year, location, description, and also our images and their data with array of images. So go and import it over here. And now we can go actually to projects page and try to run it. So await, fetch projects. And don't forget to add a sync before function for the page. Let's log it, what we have over here. And as we see, we get all the data like title, description, year, and location, but we don't get images. And by default, Strapi don't populate images. So to get all the data for one level deep, we can use this fast way to do it. So populate star. So we'll not go in depth for now, but just know that this thing exists. So Strapi does it to get requests faster. So now for the data, I want to have projects and then map through the data. And here I have it almost correctly. I'm just gonna add attributes first. For images, we'll have to access data, and for attributes of image, have to use attributes and URL. And now as you see, we have a few problems. So first, our image is not visible, and then if you see filter by year or filter by location, we have duplicate values. So first, let's fix the duplicate values for this. So inside page, where is years and locations, I need to create array from, and then new set and copy. So this will help us avoid duplicate values in our array. So array from, new set, and then locations. So now it should be fixed, and yeah, we have locations and years. Now what is happening with the image? So for the Strapi image, we have to make some changes. And actually we need to create a Strapi image component. So here inside components, I will create Strapi image.tsx, rafc, interface will be Strapi image props, extends image props from NextJS. And then here will be source, just a string. So here I want to have source and rest image, Strapi image props. So here I will copy a few functions. So here just gonna change Strapi URL, and we will not need to export them, just use it in this component. So this is needed to modify the Strapi image URL for it to work correctly with Next.js. And here finally we're gonna return our Next.js image, which will have source as get Strapi media, and then we pass argument source and pass rest of the props. So now going back to page and trying to remove image and replace with Strapi image, we can see that we get error, and for this to fix we need to go to next config and here add images Then remote patterns, here will be array, and first object will be protocol. So first HTTP, then host will be not local host, but so for the host I will use my IP. Then port will be 1337. Oh, and actually we don't need to define port over here. And then path name will be uploads slash star star star, like this. And hopefully now if we refresh, we're gonna see it working, but actually our app stopped. So let's run it again. So it says that host is missing, and for host it's not host but it's host name. So like this. Okay, so we get error, so we need to remove this HTTP here, and hopefully now it will be fixed. And we still get this error because in env local I define API here, and now I will get another error because API is missing in the link over here. So now it looks like it is working. Now we need to fetch a single project. So I will copy fetch projects inside data and make it fetch project. So here I will pass ID, which will be string. And here we can add this ID to URL, and the response will be, instead of project interface array, it will be just project interface. So now I want to go to single projects page, and also here, so I want to const data await fetch projects. This will be async. So for const project, I have to use data find, so project, and then project ID. So let's rename it to P, and then to strictly equal to params ID. Now we can remove it. So here we will need to remove it and just pass a title, which will be project attributes title, and description will be project attributes and description, year, project attributes year, location the same. And for images we will have to map the images data and return images attributes URL, so it is string array of strings. So now if we comment similar projects and comment similar projects here also, and go to single project, we can see that we have the project, but we have some problem because I think we use regular image inside Carousel. Here I will replace it to Strapi image, and now we have our images just like that on autoplay. Like this it looks on desktop. And so now we need to find similar projects for it. So for this I will just reuse this logic. Just remove projects from here. So instead of project it will be data, and then instead of P location will be attributes location, and then also project attributes location, and this part is okay. So similar projects. Let's see what is the type of similar projects. So actually we're gonna need to modify it a bit. So I will use map project. And it already gives me the return value, which will be object with ID, title, description, year, location, and images. And then finally I want to use slice 0, 3, so it's maximum 3 similar projects. And now I want to uncomment it and see if it works. Again, similar project. Good. Yeah, so looks like it is working, because one project has one similar location. And then our carousel also is working. So last thing we want to do now, if we go to our home page, so these projects are still not dynamic. So if we go to projects section, and here we can do the fetching const data, await fetch projects. So I want this component to be async. And then basically I want to construct two, so projects will be data map project like this, image will be first image, and then title, and then link will be to projects.id. Here we just can use our enum, so route projects, will be projects, and then pass this data here, remove the static data, so a few things we need to do here is also replace this with Strapi image here, and also I wanted to have maximum 3. So I will slice the array, and now it works just fine. And just like that, guys, if you watched until the end, so congratulations, now we have a full functioning website, which is not only modern but filled with massive amount of custom solutions, is responsive, using modern tech, and of course uses headless Strapi CMS. I will not show how to deploy in this tutorial as it is already too long, but if you still want to see it, I can make a part 2 and show you how to deploy and use it in production. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next tutorial.